What is going on, guys? It's Adam A.K. Marf, and today's show is going to be packed. We have all of everything that has happened over the weekend, so stick around. We'll be right back.
Kaboom goes kaboom and nobody notices. Kaboom goes kaboom and nobody notices.
Remember, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else on the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. With that out of the way, my name is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Thank you guys for being patient. We've had issues with YouTube over the last week. In fact, I don't know if they're having issues on their end, but again, we are now live, and I'm super glad to see that there's already 1.3 thousand over on YouTube and several over on DLive. Thank you. Before we get started, just want to remind you that everything we're going to put here, we give you access to a bibliography of sorts on our website. In fact, you can grab a second device and follow along. If you go to our website, you will actually see that we have every single article, tweet, video, document that we have shown you here today will be on our website. So when you go to the website, it's very easy to navigate. Just go to this thumbnail and you will see that it says, look over here. When you click on that, you will see that we have listed every single piece of information that we show you, so you have access and know exactly where it is coming from. Down below is web-only content. The stuff that's too hot for TV will go there. There is a video that we can't show you because of the adult nature of it. That is down there as well. Basically, this video clip that everybody's watching of Kabul's airport had some pretty crazy stuff happen. People were holding onto the plane until it went off, and you can actually see people, So it's pretty messed up stuff. This, I believe, though, there's a lot of look over here. If you're following what is going on right now, it is pretty nuts. I feel like we are, if we were ever at a precipice, this is it. So let's bring in my co-host, Dex / Internet Brother. What is going on, Dex, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So we have a lot to cover. We'll get right into it. And, of course, why Haiti earthquakes are so catastrophic. This isn't the first, and it won't be the last. In fact, they have multiple just really crazy earthquakes. If you remember, there have been several fundraisers over the years, essentially, fundraising for all of the disasters that have happened there. Not to mention the blundered kind of effort that has been done by somebody famous that we can't talk about here because I don't want to be part of a count of any kind. But yeah, Haiti has a lot of stuff going on. Of course, their prez was taken out forcibly and put to sleep forever. And then, of course, that was because they connected it to all this stuff, including a guy in Florida and all this weird stuff. And the people were trained by military, U.S. military or something like that. All sorts of craziness. And then this happens. One thing that I have kind of thought about over the years is how far technology has come, and as far as, say, some of the experimental kind of things that have happened over the last couple of years. In fact, Dex, do you remember what happened under China Lake under a weapons testing facility? Do you remember what just happened like last year or the year before? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was another big quake.
And somehow it literally centered directly under the weapons testing facility, and it was a 7.0 earthquake. It was actually like a 7.2 or something. It was almost the same kind of Richter scale earthquake as this, and that was, of course, naturally occurring right directly under a weapons testing facility. Somehow, very odd. I mean, the odds of that are just absolutely crazy. But that's earthquakes. You never know where they're going to happen. Again, and then Haiti, of course, just had a massive earthquake. So it says That over the weekend, Haiti was hit by a magnitude 7.2 earthquake that crumbled homes and buildings and took out more than 1,200 people. Rescuers are still working to find survivors amid the rubble. The count is expected to rise. So remember, it was originally about 300 when I did my first video a few hours after it happened. Now it is up to 1,200, and they fear that there are more missing. Rescuers are still working to find survivors amid the rubble. The count is expected to rise. More than a decade ago, a similar quake left an estimated 220,000 perished and more than 1 million people displaced and roughly 300,000 people injured. So that one, a very similar quake, actually took out just so many. It's insane. I'm actually kind of surprised we did not have those same kind of numbers since this was such a bad quake. So was this a smaller area that was affected? Was it like a perfect diameter that this happened? You know, did it only a certain area get affected more than others? If you know that, you know, let me know in the comments down below. These two events are part of Haiti's history of major destructive earthquakes, records of which go back centuries. So they do have these naturally occurring crazy earthquakes, and then they keep building these kind of, you know, very you would say that they're not up to code compared to most building standards, right? And then they get shaken and they tumble. Plus, the building materials that they use in a lot of places are not up to par. So when something like this happens, it really does a lot of havoc. It says researchers say that the country's unique geology makes it seismically active and prone to devastating earthquakes. And of course, a combination of factors, however, leave the country especially susceptible to damage from these events. And of course, it goes over the two major faults along Hispaniola, the island shared by Haiti and the Dominican Republic. It says the southern one is known to be the Enriquillo Plantain Garden Fault system. It's this fault that the USGS says caused the August 14th quake, and the same one that caused the January 2010 earthquake. So this was only 11 years apart for a huge earthquake. You know, I mean, obviously, most places don't have them that often. In fact, the Cascadia subduction, the 9.0 we're expecting, it happens on average every 240 years. This is every 11 years they've basically had some sort of huge earthquake. It says the USGS believes the Enriquillo Plantain Garden Fault can be blamed on the major earthquakes from 1751 to 1860. The agency said none of these quakes have been officially confirmed in the field as associated with this fault, however. Again, this goes over some good stuff. Is there anything else that we wanted to highlight in this, Dex?
Well, I think we can maybe show on the next one, there's a good map that gives you an example of where the epicenter for this is. And I can explain the one 11 years ago was in Port-au-Prince, which is a little further away. And Port-au-Prince was much more populated. So yeah, if you look at this map on the second article there, you'll be able to see how it's out on a peninsula type area, like that stretches out from the island. And I think we're hoping that's why the casualties won't be nearly as significant as they were, because the one 11 years ago was a 7.0. This is a 7.2. So if you can zoom in on that, right in the gap where it starts to curve around on the right there, that area is where Port-au-Prince is. So this is way out to the west of Port-au-Prince. And Port-au-Prince is the main city.
Wow. So obviously, I wonder if we had a side-by-side of where the last one hit. How did it take out so many more people? Obviously, this was most likely a little bit farther away. So huge things. Haiti is, of course, it's had its stretch of bad luck. So, and then let's see here. It does say 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck Haiti on August 14th, bringing down multiple buildings like those seen here in Les Cayes. Disaster is likely widespread after the 7.2 earthquake struck the Sud region of southern Haiti at 8:29 a.m. local time on Saturday, sending people into the streets as buildings toppled in the shaking. So, as you can see where it is, at that point, there was only 227. We wanted to cover this because it did happen over the weekend. And then tropical depression threatens further devastation in earthquake-hit Haiti. They say that it's, of course, expecting some other weather-related things. It says Tropical Depression Grace was approaching the southern coast of Hispaniola, the island comprising Haiti and the Dominican Republic, early Monday, bringing it with sustained winds of 35 miles per hour and higher gusts. It says tropical storm conditions are possible in the Dominican Republic and Haiti later today, Brink said, adding that several inches of rain are forecast with up to 15 inches possible in some isolated areas on Tuesday. It says, quote, I am worried about the upcoming storm as it can complicate the situation for us. They're, of course, talking about rescue and the efforts to basically find as many people as they can. The quake destroyed 13,000 plus homes and damaged another 13,000, officials from the agency said. The destruction has also pushed hospitals to the brink and blocked roads and making it difficult for vital supplies to reach the affected areas. So Haiti's not having good luck right now. Praying for the people there because they don't get to decide when this happens, and they didn't get to decide where they were born. And then, of course, USDA to permanently boost food stamp benefits by 25%. So if anybody is on EBT or, aka food stamps, this is a good thing. But again, where does this end up affecting, the economy and everything else? That's another question. It says the B administration has approved a significant and permanent increase in the levels of food stamp assistance available to needy families, the largest single increase in the program's history. Starting in October, average benefit for food stamps, officially known as the SNAP program, will rise more than 25% above pre-levels. The increased assistance will be available indefinitely to all 42 million SNAP beneficiaries. The aid boost was first reported by the New York Times, and details were confirmed by a spokeswoman for the Department of Agriculture. They will be formally announced Monday by Agricultural Secretary, or today. The aid boost is being packaged as a major revision of the USDA's Thrifty Food Plan. In concrete terms, the average monthly per-person benefits will rise from $121 to $157. Again, I know that a lot of people that I know that are on food stamps actually get more than that. So a 25% increase is a big thing. It's a big deal. It says the increase is part of a multi-pronged B administration effort to strengthen the country's social safety net. Poverty and food security activists maintain that long-standing inadequacies in that safety net were laid bare by the CE, presenting an opportunity to make generational improvements that reach beyond the current health crisis. So, of course, there's people against this, that, the money for it does not come out of nowhere. How do they plan to do this long term? Again, these are always the questions that are raised. And then, of course, we have T-Mobile probes huge data breach as hackers claim they have names and social security numbers of 100 million customers. So a lot of things. I have T-Mobile, and honestly, I've had so many issues lately. In fact, there have been a couple places in the state where they say that the towers have been damaged, or there's something going on with them to the point where my mother-in-law, who's also on it, she has to walk out of her house all the way to the very corner of her property, which is, it's a walk. She literally has to walk out to the corner of her property to get service, and she lives in a major city. That's pretty insane. If it happens to that point where you can't even use your cell phone, get calls, send text messages in your own house, they should be they shouldn't be even charging you for service. At this point, though, T-Mobile has, of course, just now put 100 million people at risk of identity theft. It says T-Mobile is currently investigating claims of a massive customer breach, data breach, which hackers claim has affected 100 million users. The data breach reportedly includes social security numbers, phone numbers, names, physical addresses, unique IMEI numbers, and driver's license information. T-Mobile was first alerted to the possible breach by a forum post from a hacker claiming to be selling huge amounts of personal data. Dex, so they found out through a damn Reddit post or something? Like, that sounds kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy, but it's also kind of crazy how much they're asking for. It doesn't seem like it's that much. When we've seen some of these others that have been much more higher, payouts. So this is kind of crazy.
Well, okay. So what does it say? It says the alleged sleuth is requesting 6 Bitcoin. 6. Or roughly $260,000 in exchange for a subset of data which contains 30 million social security numbers and driver's license vice reports. Okay, so $260,000 is a lot to anybody. That would be that's a house. I mean, that's a house in most places. But that's not as much as any of these other hacking groups done. To me, if this was really somebody who did this, it almost says that this was like a normal guy, like just a single guy, or somebody who's younger, or somebody that's just kind of smart with computers, somehow breached one of the largest companies, cell phone companies in the world. To me, that's just nuts. And why only 6? Why did they come about that number? Do they have, or is it somebody in there? I think about all the situations why you would need exactly $260,000. Is this person about to lose their home and they're smart with computers, so they did this, and now they're looking to get as much as they can to get their house back or something? I don't know. That is such a weird number, and it's such a low number for what is at stake here. And most of these companies actually pay. Maybe they were going low so they would actually get paid or something, because that's a lot. And now that it's out in the public, think about that. T-Mobile just put 100 million people at risk. And all of these places, basically there's no privacy anymore. No matter who you sign up with. I mean, I'm really thinking about it. Why does the cell phone companies, why do they even need your social security number? If you think about it, you're paying them for a service. You know, Dex, I don't know if
They use it for a credit check, and because they provide a monthly service, they need to report your credit if you don't pay right.
Does Comcast and cable stuff, do they do that as well?
Some do, some don't. I guess it just depends on the case. But I think with cell phones, a lot of times they're dealing with, in the older days, and it's probably more so different today, but the package of the phone was always included in the price. So they had a lot more riding on the line of you paying out a 2-year contract versus not, right?
I guess. But yeah, before it was a lot different. Now they do a plan on your phone, and then the plan is you can cancel at any time. So things have definitely changed. By the way, 4.5 thousand watching on YouTube. Thank you guys. Thank you. I appreciate all of you that are there. Hopefully we have Dex J, of course, in there. We have you modding. Let's see here. Just wanted to make sure that everybody is good. Brownberry Perp says Marf is getting it in. Dan P, papers please. Exactly. MG Toe Forever, what's going on? Thank you for letting people know about how the show works. Dawson Adrift, thank you so much. We have Darla Jones, T Prada, Sunshine State Survival, Light Seeker. Bill Bradley is here. Thank you guys. Appreciate that very much. And then everybody else that has popped in. Time Traveler Wonder. A lot of new names. So I appreciate you. Dub J, old school. And then Jay Bizzle, Brian, and of course Seahawks Rule. Duh. What an awesome name. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments down below. And then, of course, if you have not already found out why we are suggesting this, then I highly recommend go and research this. We have talked about this for a long time. This is one of the things that I firmly and utterly, truly believe in, and I'm sticking to my guns on as far as what is one of the biggest risks to us right now. And with everything else that we're about to go into later in the show, I'll explain more. I think that this is even more of a risk right now. Of course, the risk being an EMP or an electromagnetic pulse knocking down our entire grid. It is something that DHS has warned us about in 2018. They told us to have 6 months to a year worth of food due to a potential for this. So again, they told every American to have that much food on hand. Obviously, they know something we don't. This company makes devices for everything. They make one for your car, for your generator, for your house. They even make one for your solar system. It can protect you against all 3 phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3, and it can protect you against the natural kind, solar flares, or the CMEs resulting from them. And it can also protect all of your devices from lightning. People don't think about that much, but if you know anybody that has had lightning struck and destroy half of their house, then you know it's a lot cheaper than even the deductible on a strike like that. So again, go to marfugelnews.com/EMP if you want to protect yourself. The car model, which is their most popular, takes about 5 minutes to put in yourself. What it does is it grounds the signal before it's able to fry your devices. Again, you can't put your whole house in a Faraday cage, but you can protect it with an EMP shield. That's marfugelnews.com/EMP. It's a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made. All right, and then Dex, to go over, man, there's so much that is being pointed to. My personal opinion is it's like, hey, look over here. Look at everything that's happening right here. We, for some reason, are bombarded with videos and pictures and everything else. Have you noticed how there's like cycles where there's something really big going on, people start chattering about it, and then all of a sudden there's a way bigger news story that's covering every news channel? Have you noticed that, Dex?
Oh yeah, and certainly this story, and we've got a lot to cover on it, and it's because it is all encompassing right now in the news, and it's certainly, you know, it is a story, but it's debatable as whether or not it was something that could have been managed differently, done differently, or, you know, if it could have not even been a story at all, because it could have been done in a way that wasn't so outrageous, right? And because of the nature of this, it is getting coverage everywhere, nonstop right now.
And they're saying that we made a lot of mistakes as far as what the previous administration did. They made a deal. They had everybody pulled out of this country. And then, of course, the new administration, there's debate and arguments about if they did the right job. They ended up extending that where instead of leaving in May, Dex, I think it was, May 1st.
Yes,
was it May
correct.
1st? They were going to pull out the last of the soldiers. We've been in this conflict for 19 years now. We were going to pull out everybody by May 1st, according to the last admin. This admin says, no, not May 1st. Let's extend it to the anniversary of the worst day in our history. In fact, let's make sure that the last guy flies home on September of 21, right? The anniversary of what happened, which again, all of those people involved in that were from Saudi Arabia. So it's just kind of odd that he picked that day. Now, whether you support that choice or you don't, all of a sudden it's like, boom, they came in and now they have supposedly taken the whole country. They emptied out the U.S. Embassy in several places. They took over that. They evacuated that. The videos and some of the stuff coming out of this is pretty crazy. Because Go ahead.
Yeah, Adam, and what was also crazy is, you know, we were talking about this last week. Like, we were saying, hey, they know what's coming. Hey, they're burning stuff. They're destroying. They have the Destructionator or whatever it was called, right? Their tools to get rid of everything, right? And then our administration goes on vacation, right?
Yep.
And that the optics of that are just really weird, whether you like them or not. It's just like, okay, well, this is falling apart and everybody's gone, including the press secretary, everybody, right? So not picking on politics here, but that's just what happens. And then this goes down, and it's like this. There was a plan in place that was through May 1st, and by the way, anybody that thinks that either one of these presidents put this plan in place, they didn't. They have these huge teams which are made up of military people. The military experts put all their plans in place. They lay out all their different options. They strategize about how they're going to control this or how they're going to control that. And they come up with a plan, right? And it's up to an administration to actually look at that and say, okay, I believe in this, or no, I don't think you're right. Do something else, right? So you can't necessarily say either one of these guys like sat down and said they decided this, right? But ultimately what happened is you have a scenario where a specific date was set, a specific troop reduction was met to meet that date. And of course, knowing when you're reducing, you're going to have a certain amount of time before the other side is going to take over. Well, if you extend that time but don't change your troops, right, all of a sudden you're left weaker than you really, and without the ability to sustain that extra time. And that sort of seems like, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, it sort of seems like what's happened here is the shifting of dates around really made things difficult. And then you've got a lot of other things that add to it. And as we go through this stuff, you're going to see like the military that was there and the government that was there packed up and went home. like, hey, we're not playing anymore, and they all left. So that caused yet another vacuum. So yeah, it's really interesting. And I don't mean our military, I mean the local military that we were training there for that country.
Yep. So there was nobody. They left places ghost town. There's actual people that got out information, said that they were preventing them from uploading videos and pictures of certain places onto social networks. And I thought that was pretty interesting. That's something that's being talked about as far as how they just all left at the same time. They had videos of people getting a call and then just leaving. Just everybody left at the same time. And it wasn't the evacuation part. This is before. Very weird. Like the defensive forces of the local military actually outnumbered what was coming, and they just bounced out. They can have it. Very weird.
I mean, imagine
stuff.
if you're a contractor, right, and you're working a contract job in one of the cities over there, and you think, okay, well, May 1st it's coming up, I'm going to get my orders to leave, and then they go, no, don't worry about it, it's going to now be, in September. Okay, well, then they've changed the date. I keep doing my job, I keep getting paid, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm stuck.
Every time they do this kind of thing, there's a disaster. There's actually a movie made about early on in this conflict. There was a outpost, which, gosh, I'm trying to think if anybody in the chat knows it. There's a movie about it where the outpost was at the bottom of a mountain in this little kind of hole, and basically the locals could just do pot shots at them all day. Every single day they had shots taken at them. They basically had a date that they were supposed to leave. That got extended, then it got extended, then it got extended. Then they had a full-on ambush, like right before they were going to leave, and gave the locals, something leaked out to the locals, and they were able to get it out to all these, to these enemies, and they ambushed the post, and a lot of people perished because of it. Do you guys remember what, was it 12 strong? That might be it. Restrepo, thank you. I think that is it. The Outpost is the movie, yeah. I want to say Restrepo, but whatever it was called, it was basically like, they knew that every day they walk outside, they're probably somebody's gonna get taken out. There were shots every single day. It was that kind of thing, but that was the same kind of political thing where they extended it, but all the generals that are there are saying, why are you doing this? They went through 3 generals or 3 people in charge, and it was because one of them got taken out, one of them got this, one of them ended up getting in a truck crash. It's like, these kind of things leave our soldiers dangling, and that's really messed up. Ashraf Ghani fled Kabul with cash-filled cars, Russian embassy said. It says on Sunday, Ashraf Ghani ostensibly fled Kabul for Tajikistan, I'm saying that wrong, I'm sure, after the Taliban militants entered the Afghan capital without a fight. Again, without a fight. It says Afghan Prez Ashraf Ghani, who stepped down to prevent further violence in his country, was fleeing Kabul, escorted with cars filled with cash. A Russian embassy spokesman told Sputnik on Monday Ghani reportedly left Kabul for Tajikistan, but his current location and status remain unknown. They just seriously bounced. It says, quote, as for the collapse of the regime, it is most eloquently characterized by the way Ghani fled from Afghanistan. 4 cars were full of money. They tried to put part of the money into a helicopter, but everything did not fit. And some of the money was left on the runway. Whatever happened here, apparently a lot of the people that were jailed, and I don't know what is true and what is not, but it seems to me like it would be a 2021 thing to happen where all these T-cell people ended up getting re-released into the ranks. What do you think?
Well, imagine this. So you're the president, you're this guy, right? And you have been playing this role that has been supported by the U.S. government and funded by the U.S. government. And our military has been backing up their military so that they could fend off this other group. And life has been not normal, but it's been sustained for a while. And all of a sudden we're leaving. And as we're leaving, you're watching city after city after city after city fall as it's heading towards you. At some point, you're going to realize this idea that we're going to get along and have a country and coexist between, that group and our group. doesn't really look like a reality. And it also is pretty clear that the people that set this up aren't going to stick around to help you. So I get it. I mean, I'm not saying he should run. I mean, it's kind of cowardly, but he obviously wasn't willing to, take his life for the role, right?
No, I just think it's funny that he had so much cash that it filled 4 cars and left some of it just go. And I could probably see why if you've got 1,000 people chasing you or whatever. I don't know if it's the same situation as, of course, the stuff we're about to show you. We're going to show you some videos and
that
pictures.
picture you're showing on the screen right now, that's the T band actually in his office. Like literally the doors were open. They just walked in and took it over. Is the palace.
I thought this was in January. I thought this was
No.
Oh, I thought
that's
this
them
was
now. That's them just walking in, taking over the palace, and they took their famous picture so everybody could see they were there.
Is that the guy from the Young Turks? Huh, that's weird. I thought this was no, I thought this was on the 6th. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it says the diplomat stressed that Moscow would not make any hasty decisions concerning recognition of the new Afghan government, adding that the removal of the T ban from the list of T organizations is out of the question at this stage. So, again, part of the thing is, too, a lot of the really supposed bad guys, right, they got let back out. Now there's a bunch of stuff. It's almost like we're being set up for some huge event. And it's funny because it's like, you look at what they're kind of preparing for. You see the 4-letter agency that, handles emergencies and natural disasters. They're focused, like a big focus, on something being, released in the countryside or in the sticks and containing people. Then you have all of these drills about, radioactive stuff. You've got people en masse. You've got all this, and basically preparing for bio stuff. And then this happens. It's almost, like I've said, it's like a bad B movie. And the blonde's going to run upstairs instead of out the open doors to the car with the open door and it's running with the keys in the ignition, And of course, the killer is got a limp because he just fell off the roof, and it's your one chance to escape. But then run up the stairs where you're trapped. This stuff, it's like, I was just talking to Jacob Israel. If you guys have not checked out Jacob Israel's channel, I talked to him for about an hour yesterday, and we were talking about how this is just like, it's so crazy how everything that is happening right now is just so flippin' obvious. It's incredible. Some things, there's still a lot of mystery, and that's why I think it's good that we all talk about it. I want to thank Amy, a.k.a. Chicky R. Thank you so much for your support. You just headed over to PayPal during the show. It says, sending love and hope to all. Thank you again, Chicky. And then Kimberly Wood headed over there as well. Says, if the sun sets you free, you are free indeed. Praying for the Afghan Christians. And then we've got Tracy Q. Thank you so much for your support. Dawn B, of course, thank you as well. Arlene Robbins, thank you as well. Thank you for your support over there. Peter S, thank you for going over to PayPal 2 days ago. And then Bayberry's Antique, thank you so much for your support. Rose M, Rose M, thank you again. Amber Tracks, again, thank you. And then Martin Benjamin, actually popped in 19 minutes ago, says, hope all is well. Glad to make the live show. I have a friend who is just beginning a YouTube channel called Blue Coat Warrior TV. Good man, trying to wake up people to this 2-party system. Love the show, Marf and Dex. Martin Benjamin, thank you so much for your massive support. I am wishing Blue Coat Warrior TV luck. I will check him out, or her out. Sorry to say that. Claire Bear, Texas, thank you so much for pledging on Patreon. Cara Fusilier, thank you for being the last one out. I'll butter your muffin. Again, that's the screen name. Marfugal Max, strap on to the max and feel the fugal. Again, the name's 009. Fugal, Mar, Fugal. Be amazed with your TV experience. Okay, that was good. I love Dashhounds. Thank you so much for being a continued support. Daughter of the Most High, please do not take that in your arm, no matter what the consequences of refusal. It's not worth it. Trust in the Lord. He provides for those who trust in him. He can provide food easily. Think of manna in the desert, GB. Thank you, Daughter of the Most High, and I appreciate that from Canada. 1018 Pilled says, thanks for y'all's hard work. Yinzer Prepper on vacation in Sturgis, South Dakota. Forgot it was Monday and was surprised when I got the notification for the news. Keep it up, Marvin Dex. Frankie Rios, I appreciate you. Thank you. The 6 Bitcoin is to buy citizenship in Ecuador. Frankie Rios, does it cost 6 Bitcoin exactly to buy citizenship in Ecuador? Shoot, I got to look that up. Rhonda McKee, thank you so much for your support. Open Truth Ministry says, when Christians started getting taken out in Afghanistan, the Washington Monument was struck by lightning. God is not happy with the USA. I did not know that. I love Dashian's Peekaboo. Love y'all. Thanks for the great shows. And Charmaine Snyman and Ken Conyers, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate you guys. Welcome to the Fugel fam. Let's get back to it. This was really crazy, so we're going to show you some video and pictures here. Apache helicopters chase Afghans swarming a C-17 on Kabul's airport runway. Whatever security perimeter existed at Kabul International appears to have collapsed, with Afghans running freely across its runway and taxiways. So there's tons of different angles here that have been going all around Twitter. It says, any security perimeter or containment measures aimed at keeping U.S. aircraft and personnel safe at Kabul International appear to have failed. It says, as thousands of Afghans flocked to the airport in a desperate attempt to escape the T-ban. So again, when you first see these videos, you don't know what exactly they're doing. A lot of people thought that they were attacking the plane. But Dex, are they saying that they were actually grabbing onto the plane, trying to escape? They were going to hold on to the plane until it flew 30,000 feet in the air and just hold on?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what was going through their mind, but they were hanging onto the sides. They were hanging onto landing gear. They were
because I saw
the
people
field,
like,
and they wanted. I mean, ultimately, what they want is they want on the plane, because these people, you know, for the most part, outside of the Americans, citizens are people that were helping America, right, and helping that that government that was now being taken out. So to the enemy marching through, they know that their time's limited, right?
So they, and once you see pictures of inside this plane, I was blown away. Especially blown away. I knew these planes were big, but I did not know they were that big. You almost could say that, you know, these. So now. We're about to talk about, they're going door to door looking for anyone who supported the U.S. So if you were one of those and you went to that airport and you were saying, hey, please let me on the plane, it reminds me of the scene out of Greenland. This literally reminds me of a daytime scene out of the movie Greenland, where they're all rushing the C-17s or C-130s, and they're, you know, everything starts going off. I mean, this is straight out of a movie. Just wait until you see this. It's incredible. It says, as thousands of Afghans flock to this airport in a desperate attempt to escape the T-ban, they have now taken to the runway, in effect shutting down the evacuation operation. It says, video coming out of Kabul via Sawabai Hanafi shows huge crowds of Afghans swarming the C-17 that is taxiing, while an Apache gunship flying just feet above the ground tries to push them away. So what this Apache did, and you'll see this in the video, it basically tries to go so low that the wind is so strong it pushes people out of the way. Nobody wants to stand there because it's so strong. It says that this is all happening as the T-ban are now flooding Kabul and setting up checkpoints around the airport. This is like nuts. And if you were one of those people that supported, you're a goner. That's according to them, of course. So here is, it's chaos at Kabul. Planes are taking off and landing. So let's see here. And let's see here. I don't want the sound to go all crazy here. So this is video of them all running around. This is the Apaches, feet off of the ground, literally trying to run people away from it with their rotors. Let's see if Look at how big this plane is, by the way. You're going to see a picture here in a second that is just absolutely unbelievable. People are running on. Thousands of people are running alongside of it. They're grabbing onto the plane's wheels. So let's pause this one. And then let's make sure this is Wow, this is just frankly unbelievable. So here's the Apaches. And the Apaches are going this low in front of it to try to clear people. This is the same actual kind of strategy that they used in Washington, D.C. not too long ago, swooping down for crowd control. It, of course, sends dust up in the air. Any kind of little rocks get flown like a tornado. It swings around. People can actually get hurt just from the stuff that is swirling down below. So you can see this is the C-130 trying to take off. Kind of wondering, let's see. And then, so check this out. This is of course the video that everybody is talking about. You can see people holding on to it. So one thing I don't get is you see people cheering and saying stuff. I'm a little bit confused. And by the way, this almost looks like it almost looked like a white guy running alongside. I mean, honestly, what did they think was going to happen? Did they think they were going to be able to sit on the side as this thing flew out of there? It doesn't, the whole thing where they were going to ride along doesn't make too much sense in my head, I guess. What do you guys think about that? Honestly, give me your opinion in chat. I saw a couple of white dudes, says OD. Yeah, so were these Americans that were not a part of it? It says lots of no covers, right? Red Dawn says they panicked. Very odd scene, doesn't make sense. So here's another thing that people pointed out. I want you to look at the numbers. And again, if you're into symbology or anything else, this is the clip that almost everybody used for this image. And right about here, just to show you here, the plane has 1109, and all over Twitter people are saying, hey, isn't this like kind of symbolic? It's this is how in most countries this is actually the way you would put September 11th, but 0911 911, very odd, especially again, if you're into numbers and if you're into stuff, then you kind of understand why. Most people go, oh, it's just numbers, it's stupid.
No, I mean, in international date, it's day, then month, then year. Versus the U.S., it's like month, day, year. We're sort of backwards compared to the rest of the world. So, yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah, so anywhere else besides the U.S., that would be the 11th of September. So, I don't know. I thought that was pretty interesting. And then you can see the Apaches coming in from the sidelines. The whole situation is absolutely crazy. Everybody is paying attention to this. Everybody is looking this way. What we try to do, especially on our web-only content, is we try to look what is going on that is kind of on the back burner. What is actually going on in the, behind the scenes and what is actually happening. So I definitely go check out over there. There's a lot going on with, of course, the Pillow Guy and everybody else. So you can head over there and see. The last couple shows are definitely worth going to that web-only content on marfugelnews.com and checking out, because it seems like we are at a precipice. Also, the Department of Homeland Security has just put out a huge notice that everybody should be paying attention to. They essentially said they are worried about something happening, and the someone that is suspected is basically anybody that's going against what is happening right now, like the worldwide thing where everybody's doing this. If you don't do that, or if you make comments like some of the comments in our chat, then you are essentially one of the suspected. So pretty crazy stuff. It seems to me like we are at the edge of something. Does it seem that way to you? I'd love to hear your opinion. John Eaton, thank you so much for subscribing. Four Fingers, thanks for subscribing. Ken, again, thank you. Charlie Wilson, thank you for so much for subscribing as well. Let's see here. Yeah, this is some crazy, crazy stuff. Let me pop over. Dex, can you cover the U.S. troops take out 2 armed at this unsecured Kabul airport? I've got to mess with something right here.
So, as things are unfolding and we're moving troops in, excuse me, obviously we have to take control, and it appears that the Pentagon has announced that a couple people have been killed by U.S. troops. I'm surprised it's not more. I'm surprised with that much chaos and, troops trying to, get control of that kind of chaos, that it wouldn't be much more significant. I know we've seen in some of the videos, there were definitely rounds sent up into the air to try to deter crowds back and things like that. So, but yeah, this is a big deal. And, this event is going to, I don't know how many days it's going to take, because we're supposed to still be trying to get Americans out. I know the embassy is clear. They said that's done. But there's still a lot of Americans, and then American helpfuls, as you would call them, people that were part of the program or part of that government that, basically are seeking asylum now because they know they can't get anywhere. So, to whatever extent we're willing to help them, which we probably should since we put them into that position, that's going to be ongoing. So
after all of this, after getting all these out, now we're going to be sending thousands back to deal with this. Is that right?
Yeah, and they're there now, and they're trying to continue to evacuate people and natives there.
And now supposedly this 20-year conflict against the people that were these, big bad T cells are now stronger than they've ever been before. Not to mention, we still have somebody who, planned an attack on the U.S. that was supposedly making September of 2001 look like chicken feed. That person is still out there, and now they have allies that are just absolutely unwavering right now.
Well, and I heard a stat that said the T-Band group controls more land now than they did when we started this. So we came in, we started this, and now we're leaving, and they have more.
So, and we're going to show you something here in a second. They say record numbers are coming into our country, and this goes for anywhere. If you're in Europe, if you're in Australia, I bet it's a lot less in Australia because, of course, you are a giant island and other island countries. But if you are a mainland country, if you're in Europe or elsewhere, they say that T-cell people in these T groups, are coming in by unseen numbers, the leaving chief said. So we'll cover that here in just a second. But before that, this is what we were talking about. Maybe, if this is true, this is why people are running to hold on to the plane. They say the T-Ban reportedly is conducting door-to-door searches in Kabul for U.S. collaborators. It says on Sunday, BBC reported that spokesperson for the team assured, quote, the people in Afghanistan, particularly in the city of Kabul, that their properties and their lives are safe, adding there will be no revenge on anyone. It says, however, as the situation in Afghanistan's capital continues to deteriorate, it says it has now been reported that the T-men are beginning to hunt down people as they see enemies, including civilians. Afghanistan-based journalist Mustafa Kazemi reports that the Taliban are looking for government officials, former police and security force members, and those who worked for foreign countries, NGOs, and infrastructures in Afghanistan. That also means journalists, and that also means contractors. Anybody that was there for construction purposes, building water lines, or building aqueducts or something. If you helped the U.S. in any way, or if you helped the former party that was in charge, you are a goner. So this is like out of nowhere. We have just absolutely unbelievable stuff happening all at the same time. This is like Go ahead.
Speaking of journalists, there was one image, and I don't have it. If I find it, I'll throw it on the website. But it was I think it was a CNN reporter, and 24 hours before, she's covering everything, and she's got her head, her face, everything's exposed. She's got long hair, etc. Literally within 24 hours, her next report, she's put on the full covering so that she blends in the hijab thing, right? So yeah. If that doesn't signal to you, just as a journalist, how they quickly went from, oh my gosh, I feel okay to be covering here, to now I need to blend real quick, right?
Wow.
In just a short period of time.
So they have, all of a sudden overnight, they have no protections, and they're pretty much supposedly on the run. Almost 7,000 watching. I thank everybody that has just popped in. Again, thank you, and thank you. Let's see here. Embrace Every Day. Thank you for subscribing. AH, Nadine Belcher, Dave024. Thank you, everybody that has just popped in. Lots of new people. Desiree Hunt, thank you for popping in just now. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then Biden team surprised by rapid Taliban gains in Afghanistan. That's what it is now. President JB and other top U.S. officials are stunned on Sunday by the pace of the Taliban's nearly complete takeover of Afghanistan, as the planned withdrawal of American forces urgently became a mission to ensure a safe evacuation. The speed of the Afghan government's collapse and the ensuing chaos posed the most serious test of the B commander-in-chief, and he was the subject of withering criticism from Republicans who said that he had failed. The B campaigned as a seasoned expert in international relations and has spent months downplaying the prospect of an ascendant Taliban, while arguing that Americans of all persuasions have tired of a 20-year conflict, a conflict that demonstrated the limits of money and military might to force Western-style democracy on a society not ready, willing to embrace it. By Sunday, though, leading figures in the administration acknowledged they were caught off guard with the utter speed of the collapse of the security forces. Of course, the challenge of the effort became clear that the reports of sporadic gunfire at the Kabul airport prompted Americans to shelter as they awaited flights to safety. So I actually want to show you guys can we get the picture of, I know it's on our website. I can probably just go over to our website to show this. How many people were put into these planes, and I actually did not have, it was probably down below one of the other ones. Again, let me show you this screen right here. We can't show you this video, but highly recommend after the show going over here. You've got tons of content to go over and see the moment when several people fell from the plane because they were stuck to the tire of the plane. Very, very bad. And then I want to show you these pictures. We put everything that we show you here on marfugelnews.com. Okay, so look at these pictures. A lot of people probably see these up in the sky, but they don't realize, they look big. But this is just absolutely giant. Look at how many people are in there. These are all people packed to evacuate. This is what they tell us, right? No seatbelts, no nothing. This is just packing in to a plane normally used for cargo. Is every single inch is filled with people. This is why I said this reminds me of the scene of Greenland where they're evacuating, just because this is the same kind of plane, I believe. And then there is another photo here that shows you kind of the scale of how big these are. This is like a flying football stadium. In fact, that other area didn't even have seats. This part of the plane does. So you're almost looking at two halves of it. That is how large this thing is. There's some people in seats, but the rest are just on the ground.
Yeah, it depends on the configuration. This was probably configured to bring troops in, and then they put people in seats, and the other one was probably configured to haul large amounts of cargo. And they just had to quickly improvise and throw people on the floor, right?
Wow. And then you can actually see in this picture, there's a lot going on in this picture. You can see contractors, you can see this guy's a construction worker. You can see a guy with an actual belt of a tool belt. So probably a military contractor. And then you have security forces. So these are not military, but they are private security, more basically contractors hired to do their job. And then you do have military over there as well. So you got everybody on this plane. I mean, this is incredible. This is history. We're watching history happen right now. And this is just a turning point. There's more to come. Remember, we told you months ago, and we especially told you in the last few weeks, they're highly expecting something bio-related. And now with all of this, I don't think that this is going to make the odds of that go down.
This is really odd, right? And that's what it's almost so crazy you can't believe it. And whether it's, some people want to call it, staging, whether some people want to call it something else or planned, whatever, there's a reason for everything, right? And whether, we're going to find out. We'll see soon. Like, something's going to happen, and you'll be able to connect the dots backwards and say, well, that's why that happened, right? So on some regards, you could say this may hurt the administration. On other regards, you could say that this can be the excuse for a whole lot of, people coming into the country that are going to do bad things, right? Like you said, we don't know exactly, but this is a major step in that direction.
So again, you can access all of these stories. This is the Washington Examiner. You can access this at markfugelnews.com. It says, suspected T crossing border at a level we have never seen before. This is the outgoing Border Patrol chief says. So it says unprecedented numbers of known or suspected T have crossed the southern border in recent months, the outgoing Border Patrol chief said. This is the head of the patrol, Rodney Scott, told his 19,000 agents before retiring. So now he's retired. He's not looking for other jobs. He's retired. I bet you if he was going into a different position, he would not be saying this. Says before retiring on August 14th, which oddly enough, all this stuff changes on August 14th, that their national security mission is paramount right now, despite the administration's focus on migrant families and children who are coming across the United States boundary at record rates. It says over and over again, I see the other people talk about our mission, your mission, and the context of it being immigration or the current crisis today being an immigration crisis. Scott said in a video message to agents obtained by the Washington Examiner. It says, quote, I firmly believe that it is a national security crisis. So instead of it being, he said he's less worried about the people coming in to live here. He's more worried about the people coming in to destroy here. It says immigration is just a subcomponent of it. And right now, it's just a cover for what the massive amounts of smuggling going across the southwest border is. It says to include TSDBs at a level we have never seen before. That's a real threat. So you don't have to go too far into this to understand what he's saying. He's saying that this is not good. It says, of course, TDSB refers to known or suspected terrorists, as identified in the FBI's terror database. But one thing I will say in the defense of this, this database probably has, Ellie Mae in it and Steve-O McBlue-Bloobs, Anyways. Your peers or you are taking criminals, rape, murderers, and like I said before, even TSDB alerts off of the streets and keeping them safe from America. Even if we possessed several thousand migrants that day, and even if thousands of them were allowed into the U.S., you still took those threats off the street. And I think that's worth it. So please don't ever undersell how important your mission is. And this is, of course, him talking to his agents, saying, you're doing one of the most important jobs out here.
Yeah, this wasn't a public video that he put out for public. This was acquired.
This was to his agents, his 19,000. So this guy was the lead of 19,000 patrol agents. So pretty crazy stuff. It says the surge of migrants from mostly Central American countries has prompted Border Patrol to pull more than 40% of agents from the field to help transport, process, and care for the people in custody, meaning fewer agents are able to patrol for national security threats. Often smugglers send over large groups of families and children to divert the agents to one area, then run the other contraband or people over the border where agents are not present. So they're kind of like saying, look over here, and then pop over through the other part of the border. So, lots of crazy stuff. Well, we have you, again, if you want to support the show and protect yourself at the same time, going through one of our affiliates is an easy way to do that. I highly recommend NordVPN. If you want a virtual private network, especially if you have T-Mobile at this point, I would highly recommend going and looking at it. A virtual private network protects your IP address, which connects to your real address, and to all of your information that is on your computer, cell phone, and everything else. A VPN is normally, or used to be, a little bit harder to use. NordVPN is one of the easiest ones in the world to use. Once you download it, you just turn it on or turn it off. Now you can go into advanced features and put yourself in France if you want to see what the top 10 Netflix France movies are. But again, there's an easy mode that anybody can do. Just flip that toggle switch on and it protects you, protects your IP address. It puts it somewhere else so nobody can know where you are and what you're doing. Again, it also stops data logging from, governments, bosses, or continents, or, communist countries, all that. Again, if you use the special code MARFUGL, you will get a huge savings again, and then also that will help our channel. They give us a small commission and you a savings. It's a win-win for everybody. Again, we are truly independent. We do not have a multi-channel network. We don't have a multi-billion-dollar company behind us. We have you. We have the Fugl fam and everybody in the chat. I mean, you guys are our support. So thank you so much. We are very blessed to have you guys. And, if we got taken tomorrow, I hope that you guys would stand up for us. Embrace every day. Thank you for subscribing. AH, thank you for joining us as well. I appreciate all of you. All right, Dex, the next thing we're going to go into here is, of course, General Milley. Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Well, yeah. So now we've got General Milley warning us almost the same thing as what we heard from the Border Patrol, but this time it's coming in relation to what's happening over there in AF. So with all of the people fleeing, we certainly are going to see the uptick of potential threats like we were talking about. So he is definitely coming out now and making a very large, bold statement, and he is an official. He is the Joint Chiefs of Staff chair, and he is warning on the increased threat of these types of attacks on our soil now that this has fallen.
So it says General Milley warns, of course, of the T threats to the U.S. homeland after falls to the T and U.S. ambassador flees Kabul. It says Joint Chiefs of Staff Chair Mark Milley warned of an increased threat of T attacks on U.S. soil after Afghanistan fell to the T ban on Sunday, according to a new report. Milley told a bipartisan group, so both sides of the aisle, a group of senators on a call earlier today that the outfit captured the country far quicker than President JB and other top military leaders had anticipated. So he basically said it happened extremely quick, and they weren't expecting that. Quantum Cat, I bet they were, but who knows. The Naughty Gypsy, thank you over on DLive. Number one so far, Kelly2334, thank you for your massive support of our channel. Kelly, you've been on that list many times as far as the leaderboard. Looks like a few newer people on there as well. Let's see here. Thank you, and thank you, Relly Bonsky. I appreciate you. You're number 2 on the list so far. And then Stormy Weather. Thank you so much for popping into DLive and supporting. It also looks like we have Quantum Cat as number 4. Susan Loves Huskies is number 5. Grace for You Too. Codazelle, Scooby-Doo Do Right, Miss Jackson 906, and Michelle K in the 10th spot. So thank you so much, you guys. Stone Fanatic, thank you for celebrating 11-month sub streak. That is huge. Thank you. I know there's people that have bigger streaks than that, though, but DLive had an error or something and they lost it. So thank you, guys. That means you've had the Marfia badge for 11 months. Miss Jackson 906, lots of weird aircraft movement over Metro Detroit today. Get videos if you can. Double tap that power button and videotape it as fast as you can and send it to Adam at marfugelnews.com. Chinese state media uses Afghanistan disaster to justify takeover of Taiwan. Oh, well, I don't know if this is going to happen, but doesn't that seem kind of convenient, Dex?
Well, that was the first thing I thought of over the weekend. I was like, we got to start watching, because if this is going down and we're all paying attention on this side of the world, something on the other side of the world is probably happening that we're not supposed to see.
I mean, like, how fast was that, right? Chinese state media uses Afghan disaster to say, hey, this means we should take over Taiwan. That's like, bam, right there. It says that Beijing announced their intentions of having a friendly, amicable relationship with the Taliban, which took over Afghanistan over the weekend in the light of the U.S. withdrawal from that nation. State-run media reports that the disaster in Afghanistan should be a warning to Taiwan that the U.S. will not help them should China seek to overtake the island. Chinese state-run media outlet Global Times reported that from what happened in Afghanistan, those in Taiwan should perceive that once a conflict breaks out in the Straits, the island's defense will collapse in hours, and the U.S. military won't come to help. As a result, Global Times writes, the DPP will quickly surrender. The Chinese Communist Party, under the head of President Xi Jinping, is the first nation to acknowledge the new Taliban government. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Hua Chunying said on Monday that China respects the right of the Afghan people to independently determine their own destiny and is willing to continue to develop friendly and cooperative relations with Afghanistan. So they're looking and they're saying, hey, the Taliban is, you guys are a nation now, you got our thumbs up. Hey, you hate America? Hey, we're all in the same boat. The same militarized ferry boat. Scary stuff. Detainee says China has secret jail in Dubai. Holds these, right? This is a sensitive subject. Very crazy stuff. It says a young Chinese woman says that she was held for 8 days at a Chinese-run secret detention facility in Dubai, along with at least 2 of these, in what may be the first evidence that China is operating these so-called black site jails, right, beyond its borders. The woman, 26-year-old Wu Huan, was on the run to avoid extradition back to China because her fiancé was considered a Chinese dissident. Wu told the Associated Press that she was abducted from a hotel in Dubai and detained by Chinese officials at a villa converted to a jail, where she saw and heard 2 other prisoners, both Uyghurs. So, Dax, that's like... So basically, they have
crazy, huh?
Well, especially since it's in Dubai, and they were in a hotel. Dubai is known for its tourism, and think about it: you're in a hotel, and then all of a sudden, the Chinese military roll in and take you out.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure they're dressed like like they're on vacation too, and they're whisking you away to a villa, which is like some other, condo or something, right? But when you get inside the door, all of a sudden, it's a mini prison.
That is really crazy. I'm going to turn off that viewer count while it stays on that 666 number. Turn it on when more people or less people show up. I mean, this is like, obviously there's something big happening here, and China is most likely involved. I know that, again, there's going to be ties. Now they're saying that, basically that is the government, and they're recognizing it. Gosh, think about if you recognize Taiwan as an independent country, what will happen? And then, of course, toxic metals are seeping into human bones. Technology may make it worse. Toxic metals, this is out of Jerusalem. Toxic metals like lead are major components in the technology people regularly use around the world. However, harmful exposure to lead is nothing new, in fact. A new study reveals humans have been absorbing these metals into their bodies for thousands of years. Researchers in Israel have discovered lead contamination in the bones of humans as far back as 12,000 years ago. They warn that modern technology may only make the problem worse. A team from Hebrew University of Jerusalem examined the human remains at a burial ground in Italy that remained in use until the 17th century. From the fragments of 130 people at the site in Rome, researchers analyzed the composition of chemicals in each person's bones. Their findings reveal that the levels of lead pollution in human bones closely mirrors the historical rates of lead production worldwide throughout the centuries. Dex, so, I mean, I guess some look at this and be like, maybe there was something back then too or something, or?
Well, I guess the more we produce, right, the more we are exposed and it's getting into us. But it seems the biggest thing is that with the new technologies that we're developing, exponentially year over year, right? Whether it's lithium or leads or other things, we're getting involved in a lot of metal material, and we're being exposed to it in new ways that have never really been studied. And if what you're looking back and saying, okay, well, look at all this lead that was going into people back in the old days, ancient times, or even, not too long ago, but, it's significant. So what's happening today with all of this stuff? And there's plenty of people out there that have, through some form of diagnosis, say they have metal poisoning, right? And so, these types of pollutants are kind of important for us to be thinking about, especially as how it affects our body and how do we get it when we don't know that it's there. It's not like I went and played with, I broke a thermometer open and started playing with mercury, which I shouldn't do, right? Well, but if I'm just using a phone or using new technology and I'm picking up, new toxins in my body from that type of technology, nobody's paying attention to this.
Well, I would have never thought of it, and I'm sure most other people wouldn't either. And then, of course, Washington Monument gets struck by lightning, closed down for repairs. So we, again, added this. The Washington Monument was struck by lightning and is closed Monday for repairs, according to the National Mall National Park Service. Again, thank you. Who was that? That was... Okay, I can't find it. Thank you for the comment, by the way. The monument was struck by lightning during storms Sunday morning, which caused damage to the electronic access system, the National Mall NPS tweeted. I mean, this is really, really crazy. It says the technicians are on site as I write this. We should know more when they're finished. Mike Litterist, chief of communications for the National Mall and Memorial Parks, told the Daily Caller News Foundation. Following a 2011 earthquake that hit the Washington, that piece, it says the monument suffered damages, which a billionaire philanthropist donated $7.5 million in 2016 to fix. It says the monument reopened September 19th, 2019, following a 37-month, $10.7 million renovation. The Washington Monument shut down in March of 2020 due to the pandemic and reopened for a short time in October, but then closed again in January. Of course, for the, the day we shall never mention. Content created by the Daily Caller News Foundation is available without charge. Okay, I'm reading their advertisement. Here, go download the Daily Charge.
Well, Adam, I would say one thing. If the National Park Service there would get on board with purchasing some EMP shields for the monument, they wouldn't be down for lightning.
So what is it actually striking? I mean, I've never been to it in person. I thought it was stone.
I'm sure they've got some form of, lightning rod or arresting type material on there because it is such a tall structure. It's probably going to get hit. It has been. I think we've seen pictures in the past, of at least bolts near it or by it. But what's happened is that strike obviously was close enough or touching something in their electronics, like, the electrical systems, and when it sounds like they're access to the doors and things like that, all the security, keys that they have that, allow them to open and close the place, stuff like that is knocked offline. So they're not in a position to make it, a public attraction, because you can walk up to the top. I mean, you can go inside and take all the steps up and down.
And just to show you, in case there's not one person who doesn't know what this is, it's been in millions of movies. It is the large obelisk type, tower thing, and it actually got struck by lightning. And I like the comment that says basically God's not happy with us right now. God's not happy with the U.S. Man, look at that. It got struck by lightning. Yeah, I thought it was stone. I've never been there in person. I did not know that there was a viewpoint there. I thought it was more of a static statue. So call me dumb. Again, I've never been to Washington, D.C.
It is stone. You're right. It's 2 different colors.
Oh, you know what? I should know that because it was in a superhero movie where they're in the top on a tour and they, I think it was Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man, the movie, shows them go up there and something gets destroyed. Yeah, pretty sure, yeah. One of the ones with the young Spider-Man. Anyways, so that getting struck by lightning is like, that's kind of like God saying, you guys are screwed. And then Bob Dylan, I know some people will be like, don't even cover it. I know a lot of people love Bob Dylan, but it says he's sued for allegedly with a 12-year-old girl in 1965. One thing, it was back in 1965. That is, what is that, 40, 60, 50 years ago? So 1965 to 2005 would be 40. 2015 would be 50. So 55, 56 years ago. Wow, that's crazy.
The victim is 65 years old right now.
Wow, and you can sue after that amount of time?
Well, what's interesting is they snuck in on the last day of a New York law that allowed you to have unlimited time to go back. After that day, whichever day it was they filed, it was the last day, you no longer could do that. But New York had created a law saying, hey, if you need to go back in time, you can go back in time indefinitely, but you can only do it up until this day. And they filed on the last day. But, we won't know. There's not a lot of details in this. It does, it appears similar to other stories we've heard, around grooming and things like that. But we won't know, we won't really know what's going on. And, of course, there's going to be people that say it's not true, and there's going to be people that say it is true, and it's all an allegation at this point. But it also is interesting when you think about people in power or in the know or in celebrity positions. They, a lot of times, if they do something, and I don't know what he's been up to, there's people that don't like him find ways to get rid of him. And sometimes it's, physically, and sometimes it's just career-wise, right?
Is Bob Dylan at all outspoken about anything? Is he on one side of the aisle, or does he have any... I'm surprised because in 55 years, there's nobody else coming out about it. I bet you, though, more people will come out, possibly after this. I don't know. But it seems to me, well, now that I know what I know about some of this stuff, so we know there's operations by the CIA and NSA that have literally framed people for stuff, but this doesn't seem like that. This is a 65-year-old woman saying that this happened back when she was 12. How old is he, though? Is he 80 or is he 90 years? Is he alive? Or is this suing his now 81-year-old?
He's still alive.
I mean, because, even if you pass away, you can sue the whoever owns the legacy of the artist. Alleged abuse by the now 81-year-old Like a Rolling Stone singer and songwriter occurred multiple times, and some of the incident took place at the famed Chelsea Hotel, the suit claims.
He's 80.
81, yeah. So that's pretty, that's a long time ago. You never know. It's Hollywood, man. Everybody in Hollywood is just destroyed, man. I don't think I've ever seen somebody that hasn't been affected by Hollywood. Even the people that moved to LA are they're affected permanently. It's how the people are there. By the way, Susan Bailey Kupti, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for the super chat on YouTube. Pez Player, thank you again. Says, hope this way you get to keep it all. Pez Player, thanks for going over to PayPal. I appreciate you. Thank you for your support of the channel in general. Just thank you for being here and being at almost every show. James Washington also went over and did a PayPal. Says, this is a government failure, not a failure of our military. There is an opinion that it is a failure of the military leadership. But I guess that would be an argument of which leadership and which people that did it. It says, I've seen footage of a C-17 taking off with civilians clinging to the wheels, and once airborne, the wheels retracted 300 foot and they fell. This is a travesty. Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. And that video is actually on our website that you can go look at. Again, not everybody, it's not going to be everybody's bag of, it's not going to be everybody's saying that you guys will know. Looking for a saying, it's not your bag of tea. That's not, no. And if you reverse that, that's definitely a no. I'm looking, it's not, if it's not your bag of chips, it's not your, Dex, help me out here. It's not your,
I'm just not your taste is all I can think of. So
no, that's, I've never
it's
said
not
it.
as good, but yeah, no, it's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone. Okay. That works.
Sure.
Yeah. It's not, I know, but there's something there. Relly Bonsky, thank you so much for the diamond, Bear Claws, and I apologize if I missed people's comments. We've had some issues over the last two shows with both of the platforms and us getting that stuff. Sado99, hey, how are you doing? Greifel says, got a note saying boosters are advised. Oh, yeah, talking about that. Of course it is, right? Every 3 months or every 6 months, every year. Marv is good and strong, thank you. Holiday Kisser, why did she wait so long? Holiday Kisser, again, the part of that is that the last day of that law went into place. But it's like, yeah. Dylan sold his soul, said Badfish 2. Again, most of them do. Tree Hooker says Earthquake 2012. Dylan openly admitted to selling his soul to the devil, Joshua Tree TV says. Is that one of his songs? I don't know his whole library. He was one artist that I never got into. I had tons of friends down when I was at the market that were, musicians and buskers, and they all played Bob Dylan. I knew one guy that wanted to be Bob Dylan. He looked like Bob Dylan, sounded like him. The guy was literally nuts. Lady Green Eyes, LOL, Malsara, Cheryl from Dayton, thank you guys for popping in. Lisa K23, you just popped onto the leaderboard out of nowhere. Thank you so much for your support. Stormy Weather, I appreciate you. Grace for you too. Miss Jackson 906, Frankie 714, Cloud Pharrell. Amy R, thank you. Gone Girl, wherever you are. I know Sturgis is going on right now, so I know you're having fun. And then a couple other people went to Sturgis that send me pictures. If you get pictures of Sturgis, send them. I'd love to put them on the website. Scooby-Doo Do Right, Venus Owl, Serenity PI, everybody that popped in tonight. Dex, do you want to show them the Too Hot for TV and I'll pull it up for them?
Absolutely, Adam. So if you head over to marfugelnews.com.
Not your cup of tea. Quantum Cat just said it. Not your cup of tea.
Not your cup of tea. There you go.
Oh my gosh. How did I not? I'm saying tea bags and oh man, what am I doing? All right.
It's not your cup of tea.
Yeah.
Or tea bags. Yep. All right. Well, head over to marfugelnews.com. Click on the thumbnail for the show. Scroll down to a little title that says web only content. And from there, you'll see some extra stuff that we put together and curate. And you, like Adam said earlier, check the past days too. If you've missed it, there's a lot of information that was up there on every day that we do a show. So what's going on? You've got that video that we were talking about that we can't show and won't show here. But if you have that taste and you want to go take a look and see what was really happening there or what was being shown, feel free. Lots of other things happening with other conversations around this topic that we didn't really cover here that are more cited. I know it's kind of hard for a topic like this to not be cited since it's in a specific administration that everyone wants to point a finger at. But yes, a lot of other things and even some stuff with some churches going on there that's kind of interesting. So head over, take a look, marfugelnews.com, click the thumbnail, scroll down to web-only content.
What's your name? 45 says, not my cup of joe. Yes, that's right. Some people don't drink tea either, so it might not be your cup of tea. It might be your cup of joe. Not your Chips Ahoy. Aha. Yeah, I guess anything's better than what I said. It's not your bag of teas, I think I said. Yeah. Well, anyways, thank you, everybody that supported tonight. Kelly2334, you are in the number one spot. Again, thank you, and thank you. D-Live, again, for everybody that's over there. Sovereign Leo, again, if you didn't get mentioned earlier. Relly Bonsky, thank you for being number 2. Lisa K for being 3. Stormy Weather, thank you for being there for almost the whole show. Miss Jackson, Frankie, everybody else. And then there was a slight issue. Most of it, if I did miss any YouTube super chats, they will be on tomorrow's show. There's been a delay on some of them. So again, thank you. Bayberry's Antique Dolls, Dan Shan, thank you so much for your PayPal support over the last week. Peter S, Arlene R, Dawn B, and Tracy Q. Thank you again. Dex, have a good night. Thank you for all your help. Mods down there, thank you so much to everybody modding. Make sure to put an M in the chat for the mods. They deserve it. They have been dealing with a lot of new people lately, and that means that it's pretty stressful. So, again, thank you, everybody. It is now time for this outro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout-out. It's a shoutro.
This kaboom goes kaboom and nobody notices. Kaboom goes kaboom and nobody notices. Kaboom goes kaboom and nobody notices.
Lola and Hall and no Susan Valley Coopy embrace every day and the AA Coopy on it name Belcher and a Dave O'Duva. Thank you for all of your support.
Kaboom goes kaboom and nobody notices. Kaboom goes kaboom and nobody notices. Kaboom goes kaboom and nobody notices. Kaboom goes kaboom and nobody notices.
Martin Benjamin, daughter of the Most High, I love thy sounds, yeah. Thank you, Rob Andrews, Martin Benjamin, Donner of the Most High, Claire Bear, Texas, Spy McLova, 5680, Kara Fusler, thank you, Janine Sanunez, The Kegel, thank you for your support. Kelly, 2, 3, 3, 4, Kelly, 2, 3, 3, 4, Kelly, 2, 3, 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 3, 3, 4.
goes kaboom.